Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today I'm over here. It's the first time I've actually had a little time that we're not under the gun to get this thing fenced and ready for cattle. We kind of got there. I've got 2 gates left on Route F, and my welding buddy is having to cut them down to size and re-weld them, but that may be done by, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. So anyway, I came over here. This is the far east part of the farm. I was just looking for soil, the soil biology and kind of what we're starting with and dealing with. And this is a farm that was sold to the developer, and Jan and I bought it before they put a bunch of houses on it. There's still going to be four houses, but we got 13 of the tracts that were going to be houses. We put it all back together into a cattle farm, which is what it was before. I wanted to show you something here. Look at this. Okay, see all those little clumps down there? All these. Folks, that's solid earthworm castings. Just castings everywhere. And look at this field. Guess what this is? This farm's got some really neat diversity on it. This is all Big Bluestem. Yeah, there's a little bit of fescue and orchard grass in here, but the lion's share of this grass here is Big Blue. Yeah, Big Bluestem. And if you look across here, you can see those windrows kinda. Can you see them? Well, here's one. It takes off and goes across, and you walk over 12 feet. There's another one. So this was all cut with a hay conditioner last summer, and it got rained on. And I mean, it rained. It rained on it hard and heavy, and that would have been in August, because that's the only rain we got. Was in August. Well, he mowed this down right when it started raining. Let's look down in here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Worms are having a heyday in there. So he got this big thick mulch. It never was baled. There it is. Which I'm glad it didn't get removed from the land. So yeah, it did kind of set the grass back in these windrows, but in 2 years you won't be able to tell where these windrows are at. If anything, where the windrows are at is a huge burst of fertilizer got added here. It may have really dark green streaks in here in another year, once this all breaks down. But it's kind of a win-win that it didn't get rolled up in a bale. If it had got rolled up in a bale, this would have been part of the bales that we bought, because the guy came in and baled all this. The rest of it all did get baled, and there was 200 bales in here, not counting this field. Folks, this is all Big Bluestem. Yeah. Good stuff. It doesn't have any toxins in it. It's very, very wildlife and cattle friendly. It's got a really deep taproot. It is what they call a native warm season grass, and so it really starts cranking into June, July, August, and the first week of September or so. So if you get in a dry situation, a lot of heat, this stuff here will save your bacon. But it was never grazed. The previous owner, I remember this was his hayfield. There was a wire around all this, and there was that's the first new house that's being built. I haven't met the guy. He's out of state, but I guess that's his retirement home. It's a pretty place. He's got 10 acres here beside us. But this is our new fence that we put up. If I get right even with it and look down, you can see it better. See that? And this section is part of the post that Jan painted. We had a bunch of 6-foot fiberglass posts. These are all 1 inch, and we drilled an 1/8 inch hole in the fiberglass and ran galvanized 12 gauge wire through there, soft galvanized. And the wind came up. I thought I was gonna get lucky and shoot this video and not have any wind. I'm gonna get down here in these woods. Maybe you won't hear the wind so bad. But you can see, you know, there's hot ground, it's just a staple. Hot ground and staple. And I might as well go over the distances because everybody's asking me. I can't remember, but I got it written down here. Hold on. Now if I can find it. Got it written down in my little day timer. When you want to find something, I'm going to find it, because if I don't, I'll have to answer it on YouTube 20 times. Here we go. The bottom wire is 14 inches, ground 22, hot 30 inches, ground 38, and that top wire is 47. So 14, 22, 30, 38, and 47. And I wouldn't be afraid to put sheep on that. Right now we're not planning on putting sheep over here just because of the neighbors. You know, there's going to be 4 houses in here, and the guard dogs might keep them up at night. Barking all night. We could keep them on the west side of this farm. There's 141 acres here, and we'd probably be okay. But having them right in the backyard of this nice new home barking all night, most people might not care for that too much. But these posts are all driven at 4.5 feet in the ground, and we took an auger and drilled a 6-inch pilot hole, 4.5 foot deep, and then we had a driver come along and just smack them in. And I mean, they are solid. But you know, you look down through there, folks, that made an awful stout, nice looking fence. And it's the kind of fence that we're not gonna have to deal with ever again, you know? I'm gonna be out here patching it every weekend. I mean, that darn thing is like a tree. It is. You could hang a gate on that. You could hang a 16-foot gate on that without an H-brace. That's how tight it is. But we've got a little cleanup to do down here. This is where we cut the trees to get our fence through. Certainly helps to have some good young manpower. We knocked this out in one day. All the brush was taken out here. The stumps are painted. And yeah, we got it in. We got her in. See all the brush here. I'm gonna clean that up around that tree. I don't like making brush piles around the base of a tree, and that's not a real good tree. But I'm not gonna cut it down until it's completely dead, but it looks like it's on its way out. That's an ash. It's probably got ash borer. It's kind of a shame, really. But there's a wild cherry right there beside it to take its place. A lot of people freak out about wild cherry. Oh, it's poisonous. You know, if cattle eat it. If a limb falls off during a storm and it wilts, and cattle come along and eat that wilted leaf, it is poisonous. It can kill livestock. But yeah, it's just a neat area back in here. Usually I'm ramming and jamming. The last 2 weeks coming through, we're always doing something, but it's all done. It's all done. And I guess I can't overemphasize enough. If you're gonna build a fence, clear the brush, you know? Get the brush back from your fence. On this side, we could have taken it over a little bit more, but you know, that was his trees. I didn't want to cut his trees. They're not on our property. But there was one here right underneath the fence. It had to come out. And there's two more up here we took out that were right on the fence. And of course I couldn't get a hold of the landowner. He lives out of state, but we stayed on the survey marker, so there's nothing they can say about it. The fencing law in Missouri goes like this. When you stand facing your neighbor like this, the fence on the right-hand side, 50% halfway down, that is your responsibility. When your neighbor's facing you, the 50% of the fence facing that way is his responsibility. Now, he didn't pay for any of this fence, we did, and the labor. So he cannot run livestock against this fence. Can't do it. Unless he's willing to pay us for half of this fence. So we've got another neighbor over here. He'd probably be running livestock, and you know, I've kept track of all the receipts of what we've got invested in it. And if he wants to put livestock against that fence, he's more than welcome to do that, but he's got to pay us first for his 50% of the fence. It's just the way it is. It's fair, nothing unfair about it. We paid for it, you know, and they got the advantage of having this beautiful fence that they can graze animals on after they pay us for it. Here's a couple big stumps. That was a big old black oak, and that's what that pile of wood over there is. We'll get some firewood out of it, but it was right in the fence. Matter of fact, it was leaning. It was one of those leaners that came this way right over the fence. And so there's no way to get this fence in without cutting it. But you know, I cut the small one on our side and the big one over there. The one down there was right in the middle of the fence. That was a water oak. So, yeah. Starting to get green back here. But I'm still on the Big Bluestem field. You can see it. This is all Big Blue. And this was never grazed. So I'm anxious to get it grazed. And once it gets going, we don't ever plan on putting hay up on there. You know, we're gonna graze it. It's gonna be part of our grazing system. For water, we do have a pond up here. I'm getting ready to walk up over this hill. I'm gonna show you the water. It's a really nice pond. Unfortunately, when the developer laid these tracks out, they didn't care about anything about livestock. They're just trying to get as many houses in here as they could. And so they cut off the water tank. The water tank and the hydrant is on this guy's property. The water in the pond is on our property. So the water tank doesn't do us any good. And of course their tanks don't do any good because we control the water. It's on us. So yeah, goofy stuff going on. But this row of flags right here, see them, they made a skid steer, made a line through here. Boone Electric's coming in here on Monday, and they're gonna run a power all the way up to this new house site up there on top of that hill. Well, we've already got it fenced. And so strategically, I put these tensioners all right here. We can turn the power off. We can undo that tensioner and pull this wire back, and they can trench right through here without, you know, the fence being in the way. He said, you know, he could bring a mini hoe in here and they could reach over. They're just gonna make a mess. So I would rather just take the wire back and let them take a trencher, come through here, backfill it, and we're done. This is the power. So we're gonna have power on our farm. We're not taking a meter right now because we don't need it. But down the road, you know, who knows? We're gonna have power available if we want to set a meter, which is pretty cool. Now we've got to tackle the rural water thing, which we're gonna find out here in the next week or so how that goes. But I'm climbing the hill. I'm getting there. Yeah, good looking fence. Now up here we had a low spot, and so this post would have been pulled up right here. That post, see, it's high on that side, and it's high on that side. So you got this V. Well, how do you hold down a 1-inch fiberglass rod with 5 wires pulling up on it? So here's your learning tip today. You take a 1-inch rod. Actually, this is a 3/4 inch. This is 1 inch. And you drive it at a 45. This is 5 feet long. All you can see sticking out is 1 foot. So there's 4 foot of that driven in the ground with a post driver. And we drill the hole through this post and this post, all with 1 bit. And we use a 3/16 inch bit. It's long. It's probably, I don't know, 4 inches, 5 inches long. And then we take our brace wire, 12 gauge, and we run it through both holes, and we wrap it 3 times and just put a twist on it. Folks, that post cannot lift up. For it to lift up, it's got to pull this at a 45 driven in the ground 4 feet straight up. It's not going to do it. I would say we've got probably, over all of our farms, we've probably got 150 to 200 of these put in over the years, and every single one we put in, they haven't budged 1 inch. Now, I've been on farms that we lease where people put earth anchors in. Earth anchors, man, I'm sorry, but you're looking for a short. You got a steel anchor in the ground, and if somehow this wire comes in contact with that steel anchor because your insulator fails or whatever, you've got a dead ground. Or here, it's all fiberglass. There's no chance for that to short out. Okay. Look how nice it's keeping that post, keeping it down, right where we want it. Okay. And there's a snafu the developers did down there. You can see the blue tank. It's even got a concrete pad on it. Can't use it. There's a hydrant down there in that triangular shaped wood enclosure. But here's the shut off on us. And I'm gonna have to dig it up. Because I came down here, the previous owner left that thing turned on. You can go there and hit that hydrant right now and it'll come out. I wondered why he didn't shut it off. Well, I found out. I took the lid off of it the other day and I could not get my shut-off tool on the valve. That pipe is moved. It had about 6 inches of mud down in it. Folks, when you put a pipe in like this, let me show you a little trick. Get you 2 5-gallon buckets of rock, 1 inch clean. And when you put this pipe in, this was not done on this one, by the way. When you put this pipe in, make sure you put a 5-gallon bucket of rock on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side. And that rock acts as a filter to keep all the mud from accumulating through the ground, coming up around your valve down in there. So now I've got to bring that sucker's deep. It's down in there 4 foot. It's not a biggie. I mean, yes, there's a little seep over there around that hydrant. I think he's got a slow leak. That frost-free tank there is still turned on. It could be an issue, okay? But right now it's not. It's not leaking. It made it through the whole winter. It made it through the whole winter without freezing and without breaking. I'm sure it froze, but it didn't break. We've definitely got some work to do around here. There's a little stinking automollies. Look at that thing. It's just took over the whole backside of that dam. But boy, a steel chainsaw and a little of my brush killer potion that I make up, that sucker's gonna be history. This one's far enough down on the pond dam, I'm gonna keep it. That's a mulberry. I love mulberry trees. I love eating mulberries, so I'm keeping that one. That little cedar's gonna go bye-bye. And see, now that was getting up on the side of the dam. Those will probably come out. I don't like having a lot of trees on my dam because all it does is encourage muskrats to come in and trench their den back in there. I never did show you the pond. Yeah, these are all willow trees. We may take out some. They're just dying, dropping off in the water. And they do suck up a lot of water. This pond looks like it's down maybe 6 inches. I'm gonna tell you what, I wish all my ponds looked like that. Look at that. We're in a 2-year drought. We've got ponds that's only got maybe 3 foot of water left in them. See, this pond's amazing. You look at it, it doesn't have that much watershed. It really doesn't. But the water itself has got a little bit of a murky color to it, which tells me I think he's got catfish in here. It looks to me like catfish water. So I'm gonna get me some liver and treble hook. I'm gonna come over here and see what's in here. I may bring a bass, a couple of bass lures, maybe a worm and a bobber. There's fish in here. It just looks fishy, you know? It just looks fishy. This is a pretty good sized pond. I'm guessing it's close to half an acre. It may be over half an acre. Yeah, it's probably close to 3/4. So we're not gonna run out of water on this end of the farm. Anyway, Johnny, I'm gonna have him come in here because we can't use the back of the dam. It's right up against the property line, that water valve back there. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna put a limited rock skirt, and it's gonna go right up in that end between those cedars and that persimmon tree. And it's gonna be 20 foot wide by 12 foot, 20 foot long by 12 foot wide. And so it'll have a 12-inch rock for the base, and then we use a 2-inch rock for the top. And Johnny's put in a bunch of these on our various ponds, and they work good. I'm not gonna let cattle destroy this pond. So this whole pond will be fenced off permanently with a high tensile wire. And then we'll have high tensile poly tape coming out into the pond where they can stand on the rock and drink. So, yeah. I'll say this about the last landowner. He had permanent wire around these ponds. He did not allow any cattle in the ponds, which is awesome. That's why they look so darn good. So you can tell he had well, the developers ripped it out, but right here was it. Well, I think it's cleared out here at that. Well, it had to be. There's the cedar tree. So that little cedar out there, there was a corner post there. So he backed off 20 feet from the pond all the way around it and fenced this off. That's why it all grew up in the brush. Yeah. And so the other corner post would have been clear back here by these cedars. Yeah. But anyway, there's our water supply on our warm season grass field here. Big Bluestem. Folks, I'm going to get out of here. You all have a good one. And on the way out, hit your subscribe button if you would. I'd appreciate it. And you all have a great day.